Welcome back, guys, to another Attic Informative Book Review. I'm Josh.
And I'm Michael.
And today we'll be talking about Volume 3 of Kill or Be Killed. And starting us off will be Michael talking about what happened in this volume.
We have two main storylines here. Well, three. You have more about the police and how they're going to look for him. There's a break in between the killings. There's about, I believe, a month and a half period. So you have the task force quiet down. They're not really the main part of this book. You have Dylan, who, again, still the theme of him being crazy. At the end of the book, it seems like he might be, and it might be in his family. It may be something haunting him. It may be an entity, but pretty much...
I like the back and forth a lot.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. We'll see what it is, but that's a major theme. And then he takes on the Mafia. Well, I don't want to explain all what he does and what his plan is, but he kills some people, I think.
He does.
Ever more violent ways.
And even in longer session, this is probably the biggest killing spree he's gone on, and it's definitely super fun to watch play out. Because you've been building up to this moment. It's the moment that we were introduced into the first volume, and in the first volume we didn't really know what was going on or what really led up to this moment, and we finally have caught up to basically present day, to where he's actually storming the Russians. And that was one of the big highlights, I would say.
Yeah, I can talk about some moments. I think one thing that if you watched our other reviews, that you could tell, I wasn't big on the philosophy elements that they spattered on. In this book, there's nothing like that. It's just he kills people, and he doesn't even really justify it. He's just like, oh, they're part of the mob, so they can all die.
He's already in too deep now.
But for some of my favorite moments, the moments where he goes back and forth, is he crazy? Is he not? Is he taking the medicine? Is it in his family? What's happening? Is he eventually just going to kill himself like his father did? You know, what's happening? Is everything in his mind? I liked the scene with the final guy that he kills and then leaves in a blazing inferno. I like the scene where he interrogates a guy, and that whole scene, how it ends and how it progresses, I think was really good. Not to give away too much, but
yeah, when he finally goes up with the last obstacle of the mob, or at least I should say, the last one we see in this book, that was, I think, just done such in a great, realistic but comical kind of way, because it's just he kind of, his narration touched base with, relating stuff of how, the public generally is told these things, whether through forms of, media or, entertainment, and, he has kind of, this... Since it's trying to convey a realistic scenario, he kind of goes back it's nothing like you see in entertainment, just boom, and it's done. But one of the elements, like Michael was saying, that I personally love is the back and forth, trying to figure out if he's just crazy or if this is something that has followed him. I think it brings a good kind of balance of it, but it just brings so many possibilities if the entity is real, because this didn't just happen to him as a random occurrence. The entity didn't just pick him out of the blue. It seems like if the thing is real, it has been passing through his entire immediate family, and maybe he'll find out it's even been going farther back. But I think that's one of those interesting aspects that they haven't confirmed about it, because they're still, wanting you to go back and forth, is this really something that's in his mind, or is it something that's happening? But it's something that still grips me, and it's definitely probably one of the things I'm most excited for seeing coming up, besides him going up with more people and who he's going to kill. Is he going to go after more crime circles? Is he going to go back to doing one-on-one people, or is he going to find some other type of avenue to maybe he's going to lure people? We don't know. At this point, if he gets to the point where he's not carrying on who he kills, if he feels like it doesn't matter anymore, maybe he'll start killing innocent people. That's something that we could see him go from being an anti-hero to a villain, which, I don't know, there's a lot of different possibilities they go to, but I think that's one of the most curious aspects about the show.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's one of the things I found interesting too is his memory loss. He like selectively doesn't remember things, and that's like intriguing into the backstory of what he is and what the whole issue is that the demon might not only be haunting him, but if he's real, he could also selectively be removing memories.
Yeah.
And then, in addition to that, I did like, again, it's not too far a stretch where he's just going to start killing people because they're corrupt. Like, I think it was in the last book where someone was like, well, someone criticized him. He was talking to a news reporter or something like that. He said, well, why doesn't he kill like the corrupt politicians or whatever? When he does that, then get back to me about this vigilante. So they might carry that theme out, and he just like, starts killing people. Pretty much the only good person in this 3 books has been Lily Sharp, the investigator, who's actually like tracking him. Everyone else is either like corrupt,
Or has
really
some
evil, or
really
has,
messed
like,
up past.
Yeah, she's the only good character, I guess.
Yeah. And even she has some vices that are kind of like, I mean, I don't know. She's got her own problems because she's like a beat down cop. But like, as Michael said, it's like, out of all of the choices, he's probably the best looking one in terms of normal decency.
I think he's gonna have to deal with being insane in the next couple of issues. I think one off issue where he just is like, maybe he checks himself into a mental hospital, or maybe he goes through that procedure of him being insane, and then he breaks out of the mental hospital and kills like a corrupt someone who's in there, with a knife or something, goes back to basics, stops using a shotgun, and maybe that has more implications of him getting caught because, it was, he was dying, he was in there for 6 months, and then he's dying now, so he knows it's real, and he kills someone, and then now the cops are even more after him, and they have more clues as to his insanity.
Yeah.
And I think the theme of him I think eventually he's going to try to convince the police or someone in his life that he's not insane and it's real, and they're either not going to believe him, and I think that could be a theme towards the end.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's safe to say that if they don't, they definitely probably should start trying to shift the main focus of the next arc to trying to figure out definitely where it's at. I don't know. I mean, they could keep it a theme that still goes back and forth, but I feel like at this point he has to have a definitive decision or stance on what he thinks it is and what he thinks causes it. Because because if he thinks that this is something that is completely a thing of his imagining, then he would try to stop every aspect of it. But at least, that doesn't make for a very compelling story because he's just probably in a mental hospital, like you'd say. But I don't know. There's got to be something that he dives deeper and just asks more questions. Maybe it's another, prayer where maybe instead of trying to figure out if it's real or not, maybe he just accepts the fact that it's real and he starts going down a rabbit hole of, how you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, one of the things that really enticed me about this story was it seems like a mixture between Boondock Saints, the movie, and Ghost Rider, the comic character, because we have this vigilante style thing where it's more of bringing justice by getting rid of the bad people, but at the same time we have a spirit that's involved that is compelling someone to kill, or saying that they have to kill for them. So it's something that I'm really curious to see where they go. I just feel like there's going to be maybe more confrontation with the police force and the overall just the cops or the government. I feel like at some point they're probably going to figure out who he is, because I don't think, even though he gave the letter and the task force was basically disbanded and been oh, he's gone, didn't you hear he sent the letter? But I don't think Lily Sharp is going to be somebody that gives up that easily, and that could be another main theme that they go, where he's more trying to evade her. Maybe he's trying to stop killing, or maybe he has to stop killing so that she doesn't get too close in suspecting him. And if they find out that it's him, that turns into a whole different type of story, because then he's not in the shadows killing anymore. He's like on the run, like people know who he is. Becomes more of like a Punisher, where he's a public figure and they know basically what he does. So, which could bring up a lot of interesting conflicts between him and the people he's closest with. But I would say that those would be like just my predictions from the little bit of info that we know. But definitely think there's going to be a whole lot more killing. A whole lot more killing. And if they do figure out who he is, maybe even some people close to him will be killed.
Yeah, so for the recommendation section, it's the same thing as the first two volumes. I guess we could rate this one. I would say the action is the best of the three. I would say his plan, the second volume has great action and it has a great progression of the character, but I'd say that the third volume was the payoff point. So yeah. I think it would, it was building, and then this is the peak right here, volume 3. In some terms, it would be like the end of the first arc of him as a character.
Yeah, it comes to the first fruition of everything that's been leading up to this point, which I'm kind of curious to see how the storytelling will be affected by this, because in the previous 2 volumes, it's been more like a narration of him recalling events, and at this point at the end, it's gotten to the point where it seems like we're almost caught up to present day. But maybe that's just what they want us to believe. But I would say that, our recommendation stays the same. It's been doing really good. Like Michael said, this is kind of like the peak. So even though it doesn't have some of the more setup elements that were in the previous issues, this is definitely the payoff. So you get a bunch of more action. And I would say it's continually gotten better. So I'd probably rate this probably the best one in terms of overall happenings, which I think it's still a solid maybe 8.5 out of 10. I would say, because I still it gives you a payoff, but it still gives you more questions. So you're getting basically a payoff of 2 volumes and then also more questions asked. So, but so I guess. You want to, we're going to end this because we've already gone a little bit longer and we've covered quite a bit. So this is going to be all for today. We hope you guys liked the video. If you want to check out any more entertainment type news or coverage, we do a bunch of gaming, TV shows, movies, all here at Ag Informative. You can visit our website, or you can look at the channel or follow us on social media. So until next time, guys, we'll see you later.